back to Porter Reels channel. You're joined by V Wilson 92. Time for another podcast. So, in this episode, Porter Reel gets to explain his topics, and there is freedom of speech in play, so you can talk about anything you like on this channel. On this segment, you are free to speak. You don't have to agree with our views. You can disagree. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below and question everyone and question everything. Porter Reel's favourite catchphrase. Take it away, Porter Reel. The stage is yours.
And get yourselves subscribed to V Wilson 92 for similar content, because we're filming this in his crib and I'm having a massage alongside. So I used to film these podcasts for 10 minutes in my car throughout the pandemic. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I've got my notes here. And what we're doing with these podcasts is we're summarising the weekly current events and news. Now, we don't read from a script here. We're going to tell the truth. You may not agree or disagree, but like he suggests, we represent freedom of speech. So, first of all, to summarise, Reform UK, Fox News and GB News claim Keir Starmer was taking credit for the Israel and Hamas ceasefire with no evidence to support that. Keir Starmer was not claiming any credit for this ceasefire. What Starmer was doing was he said the UK government played a pivotal role, and I think we did make a small contribution, but he did not claim the full credit. So in the real world, it was actually Donald Trump who was taking all the credit, because if you watched the ceasefire, Donald Trump was stood at a podium and he actually said with his real words, "I'm the one that matters. I'm the United States President. Shower me with gifts." Okay, he didn't say that, but he likes the attention, doesn't he? So, surprise, surprise, it's Nigel Farage, it's Reform UK, who criticise Keir Starmer with no evidence, and they support Donald Trump and claim he's an emperor. Now then, this is interesting because similarly, Norway recently played Israel in a World Cup qualifying game, and Norway won 5-0 and Erling Haaland scored a hat-trick. Now, some of the Norwegian supporters held signs that supported Palestine. And I'm going to make a little bit of a joke that Erling Haaland scored a hat-trick. Is he anti-Semitic because he scored a hat-trick against Israel? I don't know. You decide. Well, I saw a lot of posts on Facebook.
And before we move on from that topic, I did see a rather interesting topic similar to that regarding Israel and the Israel team, Maccabi Tel Aviv.
We're going to come to that. Don't worry. That's right, that is on the topic,
so
ironically.
That's on the topic, so.
It certainly is. So I thought that was quite a funny, sarcastic joke. Norway scored 5-0 against Israel, and apparently Norway, according to GB News and Kemi Badenoch, they're anti-Semitic. We talked about that, isn't it? Anti-Semitism is just a buzzword, which is flown around by conservative media, for example. Similarly, Donald Trump invited Keir Starmer to the podium at this summit where the Israel-Hamas agreement was signed. And Donald Trump invited Keir Starmer to the podium. He shook his hand, and then Donald Trump turned his back. Now, apparently, again, GB News, Nigel Farage, Kemi Badenoch, the conservative media say, Keir Starmer was snubbed by Donald Trump. Well, actually, I don't think he was, because no other world leader was invited to the podium. So Starmer was actually confused as to whether he needed to approach the podium or not. So again, that's another example of fake news, folks. You've got to question everything. So ultimately, did Keir Starmer get snubbed, or does the White House circus continue? You decide. Now then, ironically, yes. What happened recently, folks, is the Israeli football team, Maccabi Tel Aviv, are due to play Aston Villa soon. I think it's a Europa League fixture.
Something like that.
Now, again, Nigel Farage, Reform UK, GB News are claiming that Aston Villa are racist and anti-Semitic. This is not the case. It was the decision of West Midlands Police with Birmingham City Council, because Maccabi Tel Aviv football fans with the Ajax fans a couple of months ago were scrapping. So a lot of hooligans are based within the Maccabi Tel Aviv. And, you know, Aston Villa and West Midlands Police decided we don't want people fighting because there is a Muslim population in Birmingham, and it makes sense for West Midlands Police to protect their local citizens. This is not about being anti-Semitic. Yes, there are hooligans within the Tel Aviv Maccabi football team, but it's about keeping people safe. Yes, I know there's ideas of let's play the game inside without no football fans. Well, that's not fair. So yeah, he did raise that point. Again, it's not about being anti-Semitic. It's about keeping people safe, and that's what West Midlands Police have decided to do. Now then, it's 100 years since the birth of Margaret Thatcher, and yes, she did champion the Falkland Islands victory, or the Malvinas as Argentina parade. Margaret Thatcher apparently gained a lot of prosperity for the UK. We were the sick men of Europe. She lowered taxes. She got rid of a lot of government waste, for example. But the other side of the coin is, like my dad and the baby boomer generation in the north of England, in Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland, yeah, central London, they love Margaret Thatcher because London is the centre of the universe. But what Thatcher did across the rest of the UK was with the poll tax and the window tax. And I recently found out that expression of daylight robbery actually originates from this window tax that Margaret Thatcher imposed upon people. So people were boarding up their windows to avoid paying this window tax. It was insane. And of course the elephant in the room is, with Margaret Thatcher, she closed a lot of mines here in the north of England and Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland. And even to this day, it's decimated and destroyed these local economies. So, from what I have just said, V. Wilson, that's all the topics for this video. What are your thoughts?
It's certainly interesting, because I've not actually come across that daylight robbery term before in that context, so that was certainly interesting observation there. So very detailed and concise, interesting discussions there, Bolton Real. So as always, you can disagree or agree with our views. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Any final thoughts, Bolton Real?
So what I recommend, folks, like with Thatcher, is it really demonstrates that we still have a wealth gap. Does Margaret Thatcher represent the millionaires and billionaires, or does Margaret Thatcher need to be called out as an absolute clown who's destroyed many communities even to this day by closing the mines? And yeah, I just discovered that term, daylight robbery, which originated from this window tax. I was not aware of that, but you know, we are both millennials, so we didn't experience Margaret Thatcher. Maccabi Tel Aviv football fans, they are known to be hooligans, and West Midlands Police with Birmingham Council have decided, yes, there is a Muslim population, but we don't want these hooligans fighting with local citizens. It's not about being anti-Semitic. And finally, I don't think Keir Starmer was snubbed by Donald Trump at the podium. Yeah, Donald Trump, he wants the headlines, he wants the media. He likes the attention. He's like a spoiled kid. Mummy, daddy, shower me with attention. Look at me, look at me. So that is why it's so important, like with Norway thrashing Israel 5-0. Is Erling Haaland anti-Semitic? I don't know. It's just a joke. But, you know, that's why conservative media have criticised Erling Haaland. It's crazy. So those are my thoughts for this video, folks. Woo-wee!
So nicely done there with the summary. So stay tuned for Friday at 7 p.m.
Friday at 7 p.m. But like with the video last week, if we all look up symbolically, the same hands are pulling all the strings. Don't be divided, but become a critical thinker. That's all I'm going to say, folks. Peace.